And we've got to go ahead and introduce our duty holders. As timer and vote counter this evening, Nicholas, will you tell us about your duties?
Yes, thank you very much, Karen. So for tonight, I'm having a dual role as the timer and the vote counter. As timer, I'm going to be helping the speakers practice expressing their thoughts and being able to speak within a specific time. My duty is to time those speeches, the prepared speeches, table topic speeches, and speech evaluation during the entirety of the meeting. The green card, which I will indicate right now, will look like something like this. I may have to flip that vertically. This indicates that the speaker is qualifying on time. The yellow card is going to be the target time, and the red card, is going to be the maximum time, and you'll have 30 seconds to finish up. For a 5 to 7 minute prepared speech, or if it's 4 to 6, I'll show the green card at 5 minutes, the yellow card at 6 minutes, and the red card at 7 minutes, which you will obviously have 30 seconds after this comes up to finish your speech. For the evaluators, we'll have 2 to 3 minutes. The green card, again, will be at 2 minutes, the yellow card at 2.5 minutes, and the red card at 3 minutes. For the table topics, each speaker is going to be speaking for roughly 1 to 2 minutes. I'm going to show this card, again, at 1 minute, the yellow card at 1 minute 30 seconds, and the red at 2 minutes. If you speak over time or more than 30 seconds, you'll be disqualified and not eligible for rewards. And at the end of the meeting, I will report if every speaker, table topic speaker, and evaluator qualified on time. For my second portion, let me get that off. I'm going to be the vote counter. So I'm going to collect and count all the ballots whenever the audience votes for the best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, and best of the big three. So the big three are the Toastmaster, the table topics master, and the general evaluator. And obviously, I will record which person wins in each category. I'm not going to cast a ballot myself, except in the case of a tie, which then I will cast a vote to break the tie. And I will not announce a tie vote. And at the end of the meeting, I will announce who won each ballot, and I will reward a virtual ribbon for each of the winners. So, Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Our next duty holder tonight is for Posture Bell, Mark Schroeder. You would just please tell us about your duties, Mark. There you go.
I have to check on that real quick. Posture Bell.
Oh, what did I say?
Yeah, you've got me as odd counter. That's why.
Oh, you have to check on it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Well, I'm supposed to be the odd counter, but if you need me to be Posture Bell, I can do that.
I'm sorry.
I was just looking at the agenda.
My eyes got crossed. I have you as odd counter. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You are odd counter. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. So as odd counter, my job is to listen for crutches of the English language where you're looking for a word, and typically we'll say perhaps so. We've also had cases where people just automatically start a sentence with a word and then completely change the sentence. Like I think we need to do that versus the place over there was very busy. So occasionally people will use incorrect words just because they're searching for a word, and I'm going to listen for those. And I'm going to try to click when I do that. It's going to be interesting because unfortunately I may end up with a cat that wants treats. I have a clicker trained cat. And if it gets to be too bad, I may have to stop that because she's only allowed to gain so much weight. Anyway, My job is going to be to do that, and during the prepared speeches, of course, I will be quiet and make a note of what I see for a report later on at the end of the meeting. But again, just listening for crutch words, and I will give counts of what I see. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. Our next duty holder as grammarian is Lee King. Lee, would you please tell us about your duty?
Yes, my job as grammarian will be to listen to the English language that is presented tonight and make note of especially good uses of the English language and awkward uses of the English language as well. My final role for this evening will be to introduce the word of the day, which for today is calligraphy, which, as probably all of you know, it's a form of writing, with tonight's theme being that of famous quotes. I thought that calligraphy would fit very well for the word of the day. A lot of famous quotes are written in a calligraphy font or some other type of font. And during table topics, you must use the word of the day. I will be posting that in just a second in the chat. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Actually, it looks like Mark already posted it. So you will see in the chat the word of the day.
Thank you, Lee. The next part of our meeting is the prepared speeches, and we have one prepared speaker tonight, and that is Mark Sims. And the title of his speech is Dallas Social Toastmasters. So Dallas Social Toastmasters, Mark Sims, Dallas Social Toastmasters.
And we will need the evaluator to.
That's true. We need the evaluator, John Vessels, to explain his purpose of his speech.
John, before you take
over. That'd be Dagan as evaluator. And his purpose of the speech is to is a project for the member to practice delivering a social speech in front of club members, and is to do a well-organized, well-delivered speech with appropriate content for this type of social speech. And the type of social speech he's giving is to honor an organization. And like I said, the title is Dallas Social Toastmasters, and time is 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, Karen.
Before you go on, Karen, if you'll excuse me, I just want to have the speakers, anybody who's speaking tonight, please either pin our timer, which is again Nicholas, or make sure that he's still in your view while you're speaking so that you can notify, when the green comes up, when the yellow and red come up. Thank you very much. Back to you, Karen.
Okay.
Karen, sorry, this is Nicholas. Lastly, so is the speech tonight going to be 5 to 7 minutes? That's correct?
Yes, it's 5 to 7 minutes.
5 to 7
Okay.
minutes. Yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, Dallas Social Toastmasters, Mark Sims.
From time to time, we need to reassess why we do certain things, such as working at a job or any activity that's we feel is important to us. Not to arbitrarily change, but just to make sure that what we are doing is worthwhile. And tonight I'll simply reaffirm the merits of an organization, obviously, that we're all part of, Dallas Social Toastmasters, formerly Dallas Singles Toastmasters. And there are several reasons why it makes total sense we should continue to support and participate in Dallas Social Toastmasters. For starters, it works. I mean, the Toastmasters program works, and then in particular, being able to participate in that in this particular club makes us better at communication. Now, people come to Toastmasters clubs and to our club for several reasons, but what we hear a lot of is, I need to give presentations at work. I'm not very good at it. And that was my own experience. I can remember clearly a familiar dread when a supervisor would look around the room for either a volunteer or a voluntold for a project that would involve giving some type of speeches or presentation. I remember a familiar dread that would come upon me before some of the periodic presentations I would have to give to outside groups. And then I remember at those presentations a familiar dread when I would start talking, I'd be doing my best, and I'd feel slowly an onset of nerves coming on. And after being in this club for several years, it does work. For example, about a year ago, I recall going to a bank to give a presentation. For whatever reason, none of my coworkers were able to attend with me. It was just me and a group of a bunch of other people. And I can truthfully say that my thoughts on the way to that were totally, how's the best way to say this? What points do I want to make? As opposed to, man, I hope I can just get through this. And earlier on this year, something a little different from me, but it was a big thing for me, is that I spoke to the church that I'm a member of, and I spoke in 2 different services, only about 3 minutes each service, but the crowd in each service is about 500 people, and it wasn't that big of a deal to them. They see speakers come and go, but it was a really big deal for me. And I would not have done that in a million years without Toastmasters. I might not do it again in a million years, but the opportunities in this club that I've received gave me the preparation to be able to do that. And that's part of coming to Dallas Social Toastmasters. To get to talk, you don't have to go through a bureaucracy. You don't have to ask for a chance to talk and be told, okay, maybe we can get to you month after next. It's very rare for a member to attend this club meeting and go away without having a chance to have spoken either as a prepared speech, table topics, or a duty holder's role, and giving a report on that. You probably all have your own stories around these same lines, but coming here works. Also, with this club, you get growth opportunities, especially in an officer's role. It is very rare that we have so many applicants to be an officer that we have to push people away. Usually we go around recruiting people or gently recommending people to be officers. And again, in that environment, you grow, you enhance your communication skills, your problem-solving skills, working with each other. And then being an officer facilitates your involvement going further in Toastmasters, such as the TLI meetings. And there are also growth roles that are facilitated by being in a relatively smaller club, such as having a better chance to participate in contests. And in my own experience, going to contests and as an adult giving either a tall tales or a humorous speech, and then hoping at least someone laughs somewhere during the course of it, definitely is stepping outside of the box, definitely is a growth opportunity. Also, Dallas Social Toastmasters is a resilient club. Started in 1989, and I looked up in 1989, most popular TV show was The Cosby Show. I mean, who's watched that lately, unless maybe you caught it on Nickelodeon or TV Land. And the club has endured through 5 presidents, starting with George Herbert Walker Bush and now through President Trump. It's existed through part of 4 different decades, and no telling how many prior locations. I mean, I almost wish we had a club history. And I was struck last week, and then even more today, looking at the Zoom screen. I think last week I noted to Mary that we had about 75 years of combined experience with people on the screen. Well, now that Kim Crandall is able to join us tonight, it is pushing 90 years, because we have some very long tenured members in this particular club, which speaks well to us. sum up, we don't have to come here virtually or in person. We don't have to spend the money, don't have to spend the time, don't have to lose the focus from the other things we do. But we come here because it works, because it helps us to grow, and in the long run, it grows on us and makes us stronger. Madam Toastmaster.
I have a quote from Zig Ziglar. He said that winning is not everything, but the effort to win is. And I know one of the things that has been such an issue lately with a lot of people is the fact, if you do decide to keep yourself from going out into the public and staying at home for whatever reason, because of the pandemic, is the fact that a lot of people are isolated more than usual. If you are the type of person that maybe is retired, or maybe you're an elderly person. And one of the things that is important is to see about not having as much fear. And I was talking to my cousin earlier about fear, and Tim Ferriss said that we fear doing most. The thing we fear most is usually what we most need to do. And there are lots of reasons to be afraid lately. And there are also reasons to hope. The thing about a quote from Barack Obama, who said, the best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you'll fill the world with hope. You will fill yourself with hope. Sometimes people don't want to, maybe if you feel so bad, you don't want to get out of bed. But the best way to feel better is just like Obama said, do something. One of the things, if a lot of things aren't going well, is a sense of humor. Samuel Coleridge said, no mind is thoroughly well organized that is deficient in a sense of humor. He was an author. And one of the things that, especially at Toastmasters, we learn is leadership skills. I studied John Maxwell when I was in graduate school. He's a businessman. And he said, leadership is more, if not much more, influence rather than position. Now, fellow Toastmasters and guests, we go to the part of our meeting, which is the table topics portion, where members and guests can answer random questions. So would you please also remember to pin the timer before each table topic speaker. Nicholas Elwood is our timer this evening. And I will turn this portion of the meeting.
Karen, will you call for a timer report?
For the speaker, yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Karen. Excuse me. Yes, he qualified. Mark Sims qualified on time.
We will go to the portion of the meeting which has been designated for answering random questions. So, John Vessels, you are a table topics master for this evening. It's a let's turn it over to you.
Thank you, Karen. Tonight, I am the Table Topics Master. So I will, as Karen explained, I'm going to have some questions for different people in the audience, and I expect them to give me an answer. They have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Up to 2.5 minutes, they must meet 1 minute to qualify on time, and they must use the word of the day, calligraphy, in their answer. These table topics are designed to learn off the cuff speaking. And the whole concept is I'm going to get you something, you got nothing to do, no time to process, and just get in there and give me an answer. Pardon me. So first I want to start with, I'm going to get him out of the way. I'm going to ask Nicholas a question. Dagan is going to be your timer. So pin Dagan real quick on this one.
Okay.
I'm trying to find Nicholas. There he is. I like to see people when they're talking. Okay. So, Eleanor Roosevelt said, if life were predictable, it would cease to be life and be without flavor. Nicholas, can you tell me a time that there was an unpredictable result that added some flavor to your life?
Yes, thank you, John. That's a tough one to think about, especially off the cuff, but I'll do my best to answer that question for everyone. It must have been a time when I was in college and maybe my second or third year when I was taking a class, actually a capstone course on genocide. And it was a really, really cool course. Taught a lot about very sort of eye-opening experiences and terrible tragedies really that befell different cultures and ethnicities. And we actually took a trip that summer, junior year, to Africa. And we were in Tanzania helping out and building a school, primary school, helping with building them a garden, assisting with a medical outreach as well. And I could have sworn when I was going on the way over there, every time I write my signature, it's like the worst form of calligraphy you've ever seen. It's horrendous. It doesn't look like my name at all. But basically we went there and we helped these people out, and we were treating them, testing them for different diseases, HIV, malaria, typhoid, and things of that nature. It really made me, very upset and sad that these people were having to deal with this. And we live in we're so blessed to be living the way we are. And it really opened my eyes and in a really, really positive way. So back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Nicholas. Appreciate that. All right, for everybody else, Nicholas will now be the timer, so please pin Nicholas so you can watch your time. Now, Tanya. Margaret Mead said, always remember that you are an absolutely unique, just like everyone else. How are you unique, Tanya?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Well, I think that one thing that possibly makes me unique is that I did not get married until I was up in age. And I had a great time being young and single and traveling and experiencing and thinking just about myself. And when I finally decided to grow up a little bit and get married and think about other folks, I became a foster parent. And I went from having 0 kiddos to fostering a 2-day-old baby, which was a huge lesson. And then the second kiddo I had was a 2-year-old boy who spoke primarily Spanish. And I do not primarily speak Spanish. So that was a challenging and unique experience. And then I was fortunate to get 2 kiddos, 2 girls, one night, one that was 4 years old and 4 months old. So I went from 0 to 2 kids overnight. And that was a challenge. And all of this happened within a 6-month period, from 0 kids to experiencing 3 children in 6 months. So that makes me a little bit unique and crazy all at the same time. But I never did learn how to write calligraphy, but maybe next time in my experience. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Yay. Thank you, Tanya. That was amazing and quite unique. Oh my. Foster parenting is a great thing if you have the temperament for it. No, I wouldn't. Great. All right. Lee. Aristotle said, "It is during our darkest moments that we most focus to see the light." Can you tell us an example of that? Lee? There you go.
Oh, there we go. I think that, simply put, in a very eclectic and comical way, definitely the darkest moments that occur in life is when people are learning how to write calligraphy, mainly because not very many people actually ever mastered it, but some people do. I personally know that handwriting is not the easiest thing for me, although oddly enough, I have gotten better at it. People still say that my writing is perhaps not as neat or as nice as maybe it could be or should be. Although the number of people that can't read my writing has gone down, which is all really good. But oddly enough, as an occupational therapist and somebody who is growing in my profession, I'm actually working with another OT right now and starting a handwriting clinic, which will be very interesting to see how that develops. I'm actually working on writing the handwriting, helping write the curriculum as we speak. Well, not at this moment, but in my spare time, I'm actually working on developing a handwriting curriculum. So for somebody that definitely struggled with handwriting growing up and definitely was accused of writing in a way that people could not understand what I was trying to say, to actually teaching handwriting has been a very unique experience. And I still am anxious to see what that'll look like when we get past coronavirus, the clinic actually opens and actually start working with kids. I just hope that I don't make their days a dark day in handwriting. Darker, perhaps lighter, but we will see how that progresses. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Yay. Thank you, Lee. Great answer. I appreciate that. Mr. Dr. Seuss said, "You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose." Elaborate on that from your experience.
So I have to ask, who is that to?
You, Mark Schroeder.
Okay,
I said Schroeder.
I thought
Okay.
I heard the mark and I wasn't sure that it been cut out. Would you repeat it just? For me,
Okay, Doc, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. Elaborate that in your life.
I think for me, I don't know that it's exactly perfect for me or exactly reflexive of me, but it is certainly true that at some point, I I decided to make a few changes in my life. The changes that I decided to make were more than anything else social based. They were, I wouldn't even say confidence based. Confidence was something I always had, but not in all areas of my life. But I did decide that I wanted to become much more of an extrovert. And there are people, psychologists, who will say you can't change. Whatever you're born with, whatever you grew up with, it may have been somewhat your genes, or it may have been somewhat of your early development, but you can't change it after a certain point. And I just did not believe that. I set out on a program to change it and have been, I think, somewhat successful. Toastmasters is certainly part of that. With regard to other things, I joined several other social groups and got to the point where I would schedule multiple things per day. And when I would get done with one event, would be absolutely exhausted and really had to kick my butt to get to the next event and just say, you're not going to change if you don't go. It was the only thing. And it certainly wasn't the calligraphy on the wall that said that I was going to be successful. If anything, there were a lot of indications that it was going to be very, very difficult and a tough climb. But I'm very happy with the progress. I can tell you that I am one of the married members, married for quite a number of years, and my mother-in-law actually was getting on my father-in-law about how he should join Toastmasters in order to get some of the skills that she had seen me pick up over the years. So I do believe that you have a fair amount of control of your life. If you make the right decision, stick with them and never let up. Mr. Table Topics.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, hey, Janice, will you do one for me? I mean,
I would be happy to.
all right, great, thank you. Robert Frost said, in 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Tell me what you've learned about life.
Gosh, there are so many lessons, Mr. Topic Master, that I have learned about life in my years of existence. I've learned from people like Nicholas and Tanya, who have had adventures of their own and share those experiences with us. I have learned from people like Lee and Mark, who aim to make their lives better by doing something out of the ordinary. Handwriting for me is an art. I'm not a calligrapher, but I love to write. People have told me that my writing is exceptionally pretty. I don't know where that came from, except that I had a wonderful English teacher early on who said, your writing speaks for you. And ever since then, I have paid attention to the words I write and how I write. I believe that Robert Frost really had a profound, just profound perspective on life. And I believe that his words are worth listening to and worth replicating throughout our lives. My life, I'm sure, is on the downward slope now because I soon will be 80 years old. But I have so many, many wonderful memories that I have throughout these 80 years that I know whatever is left, I'm going to live to the fullest. And I wish that for every human being. Thank you, Mr. Topic Master.
Thank you, Janice. Wow. I would never have guessed. Well, thank y'all this evening. That's all my table topics for this evening. And everybody did a wonderful job tonight, and I'm so happy that you all participated. I would like now to call for a timer's report. Did everybody qualify on time, Nicholas?
Hey, John. Yes, everyone did qualify on time.
Okay.
And so did Nicholas.
I
So
did.
did Nicholas. Okay, cool. Now, Lee, did everybody use the word of the day? Unmute, Lee. There we go.
Okay, yeah. I believe everyone except Tanya used the word of the day. I did not catch it.
No,
It was
Tanya
Tanya.
did. Yeah, she did.
Okay, then everybody used it.
Okay, cool. All right, so everybody qualifies. So if everybody would now take a moment and send a private chat to Nicholas on who you thought did a best job at table topics between Nicholas himself, and he doesn't get to vote, so hot number season. Anyway, Tanya, Howard, Lee King, Mark Schroeder, or Janice Weedy. Weedy. Okay, cool. So thank y'all. I'll take the moment for that. Karen, do you want to take over again, or do you want me to move on to evaluation?
I'd like to take over for just a little bit.
Okay, so now back to our Toastmaster, Karen Lee. Thank you.
I do have one story about handwriting, and a lot of people believe that, or have the opinion that doctors have bad handwriting. And I want to say in my past, in my work experience over decades, there was one experience where I went to Medical City Hospital and I found one doctor, and she had the most beautiful handwriting. Her handwriting was artistic. And I had a hard time believing that was the only doctor I'd ever seen that had beautiful handwriting. And her handwriting itself is a form of calligraphy. Another example I had was so bad that I had to get in touch with the doctor at the emergency room. Nobody could read her handwriting, even the nurses. And she had I needed the note for my report, and she had to type out her notes so that I could read them and fax them to me. Also, I understand at the moment in time, I work as a volunteer at a school. I haven't been there because we haven't been tutoring since we had the COVID-19 this summer, but this school is one of the most diverse in Dallas, the city of Dallas. And cursive is not written. It's not being taught apparently. And we train the kids in how to write cursive. That's part of the program. The tutoring program is a not-for-profit that's housed in one of the elementary schools not far from my apartment. Okay, there's one of the things, going back to my quotes, just a couple of quotes from Kobe Bryant. On determination, he said, dedication sees dreams come true. Another quote on strength is that it's constant stretching, it's constant ice baths. And this reminds me of being in pain for a long period of time. I can certainly understand after spending years and years as a distance runner. I don't run anymore, but I do walk. So I will let John Vessels.
No, who's the general evaluator tonight? I'm sorry, I don't have that.
I'm general evaluator. Thank you very much.
Mr. Giles, take it over.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, as well. I am your general evaluator for the evening. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so our general evaluation portion is a chance for us to evaluate the entire meeting, the prepared speech, and go through our duty holders reports that they will also evaluate their entire meeting. Our first thing that we normally get into is our first evaluator for our prepared speech. But I do want to mention, as Karen mentioned, the Kobe Bryant quote and the stretching and the kind of the recovery and all of those things. If you think about where we are in life, right now, it's a stretch of time that we're all going through that's can be very strenuous on us. But yet at the same time, with things that possibly some of us are doing, but also that we're doing here at Toastmasters is stretching ourselves, improving ourselves. And that's something that we can look forward to, at least at Dallas Social Toastmasters, every week. Think about that a little bit. And then let's go ahead and move into our first evaluator for the evening. This is the evaluator for Mark Sim's speech, Dallas Social Toastmasters. And it is Mr. Dagan Newland. Please help me to welcome Dagan Newland.
All right, thank you, Mark, for your speech tonight. I'm going to evaluate you using the sandwich method. I'll give you some things that I liked about it, a couple things that I thought you may could improve on, and a few more things I enjoyed about your speech. So first, let's get on the front that you also met your goal tonight. It was definitely a well-organized and well-delivered speech, on a social speech to honor an organization. So you did very well on that. Second thing I'd like to touch upon that you did that I liked was you put a little personal experience in there. You talked about speaking in front of an audience and it's all because of Toastmasters. So you put like a little bit of personal touch in there. So that was really good. Now, a couple of things I thought you may need to improve on. Now, this is just my observation, is that, when you're giving a speech, I'd like to see, maybe you sit back a little bit further from the camera so we get a little bit more of a overall view of you when you're speaking. So that way maybe we see hand gestures and stuff like that better. Another thing I observed is that you kept looking down a couple of times. So I don't know if you had made notes that you were trying to look at, or you just have to just be looking down a couple of times. But if it was notes that you wanted to refer to, I would suggest maybe put like on a Word document or a PowerPoint on the screen. That way you don't have to look down. Now, a few more things that I enjoyed about your speech was you obviously brought, you talked about the growth of, being an officer and how it benefits you. You also talked about stepping out of your comfort zone, and trying to speak at a contest. So those are all really good things about, Dallas English Toastmasters. And also you gave a little history about DSTM, about how long we've been around. So all those aspects you talked about were really great. And the one thing I really enjoyed about it was your closing statement. And what I got out of it is that we don't have to come, we don't have to come, we don't have to go to the meetings, but we want to come because we want to grow and be around good people. So that's what I got out of your closing statement. I thought that was really great. So overall, your speech was really great. So just a couple of things to improve on, but overall, you did a really outstanding job, Mark. Thank you again. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Dagan. Greatly appreciate that evaluation. At this time, I would like to call on our timer. Nicholas, did Dagan qualify on time?
Yes, Dagan qualified. My apologies on that. I had the timer up, but I did not have the colors up, so my apologies, but he did qualify, yes.
Excellent. Very good, very good. Thank you so much. At this point, if you have any comments for Dagan for his evaluation, any suggestions or any positive feedback that you might want to give him, go ahead and shoot a private chat to him in the chat box. if you want to shoot a message to any of our previous speakers, you're welcome to do that. Just look for their name and send a little message to them as well. At this point, as the general evaluator, I can move in one of two directions. I can either go directly to our duty holders so that I can evaluate them, or I can give my evaluation of the meeting and allow them to evaluate me. And that second one, the latter, is what I'm going to do. So the meeting as a whole, we started just a couple of minutes late, not too bad, pretty good considering a couple of the things that we had going on in the background that probably and hopefully most of you were unaware of. So we did a pretty good job as far as starting off the bat. I do want to mention prior to our meeting, we had some great follow-up from our Toastmaster throughout the week to make sure that roles were filled. But that kind of led me to one thing, and that was the agenda. I think that the agenda didn't quite match up with what we had going on in the meeting with the roles. We had a little bit of a mix with the duty holders. We had one duty that was open, and that might be something under normal circumstances that we would try to move on to one of our normal members as a double duty. A lot of times we take those on. Tonight, we actually had 4 additional Toastmasters, and I believe most of them are seasoned Toastmasters, so we might have been able to actually pull them in and take advantage of that situation in that way. But considering that, all of our duty holders did a great job, and the Toastmaster rolled through all of that pretty well. All the descriptions for the duty holders were detailed, so you did a great job with that, duty holders. Our Toastmaster, your theme of the meeting, quotes. I think we all love quotes, especially when we hear that. We're thinking positive, motivational, or funny, or something like that. So it's always something that's going to grab our attention. And I think you did a great job of picking quotes, and not always quotes that everybody knew about. They were new quotes. They were fresh quotes in some ways. Some of us may have heard some of them, but probably not all of them. So you did a great job with that. And that leads me to our speech. We had a great speech. We had someone that's a veteran Toastmaster with us, and I loved your speech, Mark. So I really appreciate what you had to say, especially about our club. So that's very the timing is good, especially with our guests and our area director and our division director and our assistant area director. I want to say that our table topics also link directly into the theme. And I'm not sure if, John, you had communicated with Karen, but regardless, you did a great job of picking up on that, including a quote for each of the topics. It was great. It was a great way for us to pause and think, for each table topic participant to pause and think. So you did a great job to provoke some thought for everyone there. So you did a good job with that. I also like that you pointed out, as Karen did, to pin the timer or have everybody make sure that they can view the timer. So that you did a great job with that as well. Dagan, thank you for taking over the timing. And that was pretty seamless as well for when Nicholas had to go ahead and present during table topics. Our evaluator for the evening, again, back to you, Dagan. You did a great job with your evaluation, I think. You had mentioned what you were gonna, or how you were gonna evaluate, which can help often. It gives some sort of precipitation to what's coming. So, our anticipation of what's coming, especially for the speaker, they can kind of see what's going to be coming on, and they can pay attention to each individual part of it. I thought that you gave great examples for pretty much all of it. When you said organization, I think you might have fell short a little bit with an example for that specifically, but you mentioned personal experience, and you made that example with Toastmasters and Dallas Social Toastmasters. For your suggestions, you were detailed with that, offering positioning as far as where you are on the screen, as well as eye contact. And that's a great thing for us to realize, especially here on Zoom or any online meeting. You followed up and finished up with a couple of good points as well. The growth that you have here, whether you're a member or an officer, with specifically Dallas Social Toastmasters or with Toastmasters in general. You mentioned as an example from his speech, the age of Dallas Social Toastmasters. And then you finished up very, very strong with that whole growth that's what we're all about. That's what the organization is about. So you did a great job. And then you summed it up. It wasn't a detailed sum up, but it was a very good summary of your evaluation. So you did a good job with that. This moves on to our duty holders. So I'm going to call for duty holder reports at this point. And I would ask for each one to go ahead and give me your report for the evening. We're going to start off with our counter, which is Mark Schroeder. Mark, can you tell us what you heard tonight?
Certainly, and thank you, Rob. Let me start off with Karen. I noticed during your speech that you used one ah and one so that's not very many for somebody who is returning this soon. For the other thing that I did notice, however, I noticed that there were times that you had a situation where you were halting in your words. It appeared that there were some gaps while you were searching for words rather than doing it for deliberate emphasis. And so it's still better than saying ahs and ums, don't get me wrong. But I did notice that there were some pauses while you were searching for words. Nicholas, I noticed 3 minor infractions, 1 1 sort of, and 1 you know. For John Vessels, I noticed, the only thing I noticed, I clicked you and I think it made it through. It's hard to tell how many of the clicks actually made it through because I've stayed on mute and popped it really quickly. But I noticed that you started a sentence with now. And only because I know that you do that on occasion, I kind of picked on that one. Dagan, 1 you know, and I caught you with a total of 3 uhs. And finally, Rob, only 1 very, very quiet just a moment ago. And it was very quiet, very subtle. One of those things that if I hadn't deliberately been looking for it or listening for it, I never would have noticed it probably. But I was. It was so quick, there was no way to get the clicker to it in time, but it was present. That concludes my report as the counter for tonight.
Thank you very much, Mark. Great report. At this point, I want to move to our next duty holder, which is Lee King. Lee was our grammarian for the evening. Lee, tell us what you heard tonight.
Overall, good use of the English language. I did hear the word of the day a couple of times outside of table topics. I know Karen used it, and I'm trying to think there was one other person as well. Very good with use of the word of the day. I didn't really catch anything real egregious or distracting as far as language. A very short report. Good work.
Thank you very much, Lee. Nice, succinct report tonight, so that's always grateful for that. So at this point, I am going to move our meeting. Before I do that, I have one more duty. So most of you probably know what that duty is. We have a call for a vote for the best of the big 3. The big 3 are our Toastmaster, in this case, Karen Lee. I don't know if she's over to my left or right, I think it is. So she's our Toastmaster. She's one of the big 3. Our other 2 members of the big 3 is our topic master, which is John Vessels. And then finally, our general evaluator, which is yours truly, Rob Giles. So go ahead and consider those 3 for the best of the big 3. Send a private chat to Mr. Nicholas, and he will tally those votes and give out the reports of the winners at the end of the meeting. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and pass our meeting along to our club president. Please help me to welcome once again, Mr. Mark Sims.
Thank you, Rob. In this portion of the meeting, we will conduct our club business. What I'll do first of all is hear from our guest, and the final guest will be Mary, who will induct the officers. And fortunately, all the officers are present tonight, so that is really terrific. And then we'll wind it up with hearing the winner of the contested areas that we voted on tonight. And Ms. Janice Waddy, again, thank you for joining us. Please tell us a little about yourself and just whatever impressions of the meeting you wanted to share.
Shall I do that now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm a long time Toastmaster. I've been in Toastmasters for 42 years, come October. I started in 1978. I belong to the Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union's Rising Stars Toastmasters Club. As a matter of fact, it's a club that my husband and I started, and we've been members ever since. I enjoy Toastmasters. I enjoyed listening to the speech tonight from you, Mark. I thought it was right on point and was poignant to the point of the betterment that we can receive from Toastmasters. So I enjoyed that. I am a mother of 4, a grandmother of 4, and caregiver now to my sister who is living with me. I attended undergraduate school in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I earned a master's degree here in San Antonio. I love writing. I have written several different things for publication. I have done some editing. I just love life. Thank you.
Thank you. And some of us young whippersnappers have only been in Toastmasters about 10 years or so. Can learn from you, definitely. That is really amazing. And again, we're very fortunate tonight that Manny Garcia, the Metro Division Director, is with us. And Manny, is there anything that you want to share with us?
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. I enjoyed the meeting, and I'm very impressed of the level of the caliber of the meeting and how you all are very structured and, you know, very good presentations. There's a lot of enthusiasm. We were warmly welcome the guests here today, and that is outstanding because you feel like you're part of the Toastmasters family. So outstanding club, and I look forward to visiting you all again one time soon. And I'm certain that Mary Gomez and her team, Jing, Shen, I know both of them were part of Chattering Chesters from Town North, and they will do an exciting job. They will do an excellent job in making your club even taking you to a higher point than where you are today. I know you all have been around for some time, and I enjoy that. I love experience. I enjoy it. I learn a lot from experience. Great speeches today. Thank you so much.
Excuse the interruption, Mark. I recognize that I did not answer the second part of your question.
Okay.
I thought I was going to wait until after the whole meeting was over. Did you want me to comment on my impressions of the meeting now?
Sure.
Okay, great. Every club, I believe, does things a little differently, and yours certainly does do some things different from what our club does, what the Randolph Brooks Club does. The one thing that caught my attention was that your table topics master called on the person who would be given a question and then gave the question. In my experience, it's probably better to give the question first, because then everyone gets to think about how would I answer that question, and then name the person who is to answer the question. Everything else I thought was wonderfully done. The evaluation was just superb. I wrote down some things about your presentation that I believe it was Vessels who commented on, who was your evaluator? Dagan, I believe, was your evaluator. And he basically said the same thing that I would have said to you. I love the format. I'm not familiar with the big 3, but I think it's really advantageous to have that because it's something else to strive for. Overall, I think you all do a marvelous job at what you're doing, and I'm certainly very happy to be a part of it this evening. So thanks.
And thank you very much, Janice. And when on some occasions when the questions, table topic questions are really, really, really tough, and then you hear the question, and then you're not the one called on. It's like a sigh of relief in some cases, or you're glad someone else gets the honors. And before we go on with the dignitaries present, Kim, it's so nice to see you again. Did you have any comment to make?
I'll try to get her off mute. There you go. She's
Hi.
off.
Hi, Kim.
Good to see everybody. I've missed everybody.
Good to have you back, Kim.
Hi, Kim. I
Okay,
haven't
next.
thank you again, Kim. We wanted, hopefully we get to see you here every week. We also want to note that the Assistant Director of Area 33, Jing Shen, is with us tonight. I had a chance to, a couple of weeks ago, talk with Jing and Mary in a Zoom meeting. So Jing, is there anything you want to add?
Thank you, Mark. I actually super impressed by the energy from your club because it's a Thursday evening. I didn't expect that. Usually by the end of the day, I was just like exhausted, but just in 5 minutes, I immediately got just impressed by such energy from your club. So super, super good. Something I want to borrow from your club to my club, Chattering Chester. The first is Nicholas. I like your idea using the background for different color as a timer because we were kind of struggling what kind of way we use. I think we use construction paper, Mary, if I remember correctly, we use that to just tell speaker it's the time, but sometimes it's hard for speaker to see it. So I like that way. So I'm going to take that idea back to our club. Thanks, Nicholas. The second thing I like is I like the quotient. I like you have like a quotient part. This is I think it's very inspiring because especially in this difficult time, we all need some inspiring quotes. So I love that. I appreciate you shared so many great quotes. I'm going to suggest that to Chattering Chester as well to see if they could borrow your idea and then start a quotation part. So that's something I observed. One suggestion is regarding the website. I don't know why you want to keep all the agenda. Do you think it's necessary to keep all the agenda? Because it's hard to search for the most recent agenda. So that's something I saw, but I don't know. But oh, one more. Sorry,
Just real
Rob.
quick, you saw that for a reason. You saw that because he went there. There are actually 2 links that take you to the current one and only the current one. But,
Okay.
But for whatever reason, he had the old one cached and it was not working for him tonight.
I see.
If he hit refresh enough times, it would have gotten the right one.
Okay, I was just wondering. Okay, last thing, Rob, I love your passion because you are there trying to remind every speaker the word of the day. Oh my God, that passion really touched me. Thank you. That's all. Thank you so much.
Can I ask a question, Miss Jean?
Yes. Yeah.
I was in this club for 11 years, and then I just came back in May, so I'm unfamiliar with the new program. Your title is, are you past president? PEP? PEP, what is your title? It says that on here.
Oh, that's PepsiCo.
PepsiCo.
PepsiCo. I'm working for PepsiCo.
Oh, your corporate club. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jing, very much. And Mary, at this time, first of all, whatever comments you have, and then if you want to lead us through the induction process and make honest officers out of us, we'll be very grateful.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, to do a quick comment about the meeting. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, I am using my phone in here as well, double communication. One of the things that I love about your club, and I echo the words that Jean was saying, like the energy that you have for being at this time of the day. One of the things that I also love about this club is the variety of people that are in the club, and as the name of the club is Dallas Social, you really reflect on that. I was very impressed, like when I see like sometimes you guys are drinking, it feels like maybe, or you're using a cup, and Mark last time was inviting people to do some happy hour. So I thought that this is really good, but I also look at you guys, and you do a great job in also giving feedback. I said you take seriously what you are doing. It's just not social only. You also are effectively using the tools that we are learning in Toastmasters, and I appreciate that, because sometimes we get so relaxed that we kind of forget, and I have seen it sometimes in my club, that we kind of relax a little bit on what some of the things that we should be accomplishing. But that was something that I like, Rob, all the feedback that you provided, and in all of you help each other to maintain that level, and that's one of the reasons that you are a strong club, and I am looking forward to keep working with you guys. I'm very excited. Oh, and by the way, I used today the Cheetos, because you guys told me that you like Frito-Lay. They love our company, so that's what I heard from feedback last week. Before they knew that I was from Frito-Lay, so that was very exciting. Okay, do you want me, Mark, to start the induction or the installation?
Yes,
okay,
please.
Okay, so one thing that I'm not completely sure how this is going to work, because I tried before, I can put in the PowerPoint presentation the duties of each person, and I'm going to read a script. I don't know for everybody how it works in your computer. Is that something that when you do presentations that works well for you? So I can try, let me share my screen and let me know. Oh, it says host disabled participant, but I cannot do a screen sharing.
Try again. It was disabled. I just enabled it.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me figure out this one, because when I put it in presentation mode,
can you see anything? Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, it looks good.
If we do it like this, I think it'll be better. Okay, so I need to read a script as well, so I'm going to put it here on the front. So I'm going to do my best here doing this installation of officers. Who are from here the past officers? Oh, I lost the screen of where everybody is. Okay.
Hi, Maria. That's me,
Okay.
Nicholas. I think that's the one you're on right now.
Okay. So just for the people that have never seen this before, the idea of installation of officers is to thank the past officers, and also to come and give like the official commitment of the new officers and the installation of the officers taking their new role. Okay, so I'm gonna start here with my. You saw everybody that was the officers that were the past officers. I would like you to raise your hands so everybody sees them. That's great. Okay, great. On behalf of Toastmasters International and District 50, I thank you, all of you, for your accomplishments and salute you for your service. You are discharged from all further duties and responsibilities as officers of Dallas, Social Dallas Club 2912. New officers, when I call each of you, please raise your hands as we're making sure that everybody recognize you. And I cannot say that most of you are taking over roles again in this new year. Okay, I am here to install the officers of Dallas Social Toastmaster Club number 2912 and to prepare them for the challenges that lie ahead. Their collective challenge is to make this club strong and dedicated to helping people from all walks of life, to listen with sensitivity, think creativity, and speak in an effective manner. As briefly describe the responsibilities of each officer, I will ask him or her to hold the gavel as a symbol of leadership. In this case, let's raise the hand. Nicholas Elwood, Toastmasters, raise your hand. The duties of the Sergeant at Arms are to reserve the meeting space with the proper authorities, make sure that all supplies and materials are properly distributed or displayed at the meetings, greet guests and members, and call the meetings to order at the scheduled time. I give you this gavel as the symbol of discharge. Nicholas, will you perform the duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Please, let's pass the gavel to the treasurer. Let me move it here. Okay. Degan Newland, effective coach level 1. The duties of the treasurer are to collect dues from the members, send the dues and the membership renewals report to Toastmasters International, and pay the club's expenses. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. So please, now is the secretary. John Bethel, Visionary Communication Level 1. Making sure, oh, where are you? John?
John, where'd you go?
Is he gone?
It looks like he stepped away, just stepped away. You want to move on?
No, my video says it started and I'm here. Change screens.
No, you
Right.
can't see you, John.
Your background's covering you.
That better?
Okay, great. Yes, that's right. Okay, John Bethel, Visionary Communication Level 1. The duties of the secretary are to keep an accurate record of the members, submit the officer list to Toastmasters International after the election, and keep the club charter, constitution, bylaws, and minutes. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
I will.
Thank you. So now let's go to the Vice President of Public Relations. Mark Schroeder, Advanced Communicator Silver and Advanced Leader Bronze. Need to move this more, sorry. The duties of the Vice President Public Relations are to promote the club to the local media, spread the word about membership programs, and attend Toastmaster events. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
I will.
Thank you. Now let's go to the Vice President of Education. Oh, no, hear me.
Membership first.
Sorry, yeah, membership. Okay. David Leon King. Okay. I'm having 3 screens here looking everywhere. David Leon King, Distinguished Toastmasters. As the Vice President membership, your duties are to conduct ongoing membership building programs, explain the educational program to prospective members, and ask them to join, and follow up. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability? We need to unmute you.
There we go. I will.
Thank you. Okay, now let's go to the Vice President of Education. Okay, great. Robert C. Giles, Leadership Development Level 2. The duties of the Vice President Education are to plan successful meetings to help members achieve their educational goals, orient new members to the Toastmaster program as soon as they join, and monitor members' progress. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
I will.
Thank you. Now, the President. Mark Allen Sims, Presentation Mastery Level 1. Having been elected the President of Club number 2912, you are its Chief Executive Officer and will be expected to preside at all meetings and all regular and special meetings of the Executive Committee. It is your challenge to see that this club enables its members to achieve their educational goals. It's also your challenge to see that your club helps the area division, district, and Master International to meet their goals. Please accept this gavel as a symbol of your leadership and dedication to office. The gavel is a symbol of the and authority given to you by the membership of this club. Use it wisely and with respect. You are a member of your team and a leader. A team is more than a collection of people. It's an emotional force rooted in the feelings, thoughts, and actions of all members with the common goal of achievement, sharing, and mutual support. Work with your team members to create a healthy, dynamic club, a club of which everyone will be proud. Will you, as president, accept this challenge and perform the duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
Yes. I did wanted to put a quote here since you were with quotes that I like, and I think it's going to be very applicable for all of you. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. It is now my pleasure to declare these Toastmasters installed into the offices to which they have been elected. Now, for all the members that are present today, will everyone please stand or raise your hand? This is for everybody. The growth and development of the Toastmaster program in Dallas Social Toastmaster Club number 2912 depends largely on the action of this group, on your honor. As men and women of Toastmasters, will you pledge to individually and collectively stand by this club, live with it, and work with it throughout the coming years?
We will.
I will.
Well. Yep.
Okay. So we have finished now. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Well, thank you very much, Mary. And I feel better already now. But several of us have been through that process a few times, but it is good to go through it again. We don't want to risk getting blasé, and that kind of brings us back to basics, why we are in these roles and the significance of that. So thank you again. At this point, I would recommend, unless we have some really pressing club business, that we just go to the winners of the competitive contest. Is there any objection to that?
Nope.
Terrific. In that case, Nicholas, through on the best speaker and the best evaluator. Might have been a tough decision, but Nicholas,
You're right.
tell us the winners of the table topics and the big three.
Yes. So the best table topic speaker tonight was Janice. Give a round of applause for Janice. The best of the big three tonight was actually John Vessels. Give a big round of applause to John Vessels. And that concludes the votes for tonight.
Thank you. And I'm not surprised Janice won, since she's been doing this for only 42 years now. So she's probably won a contest or two in her lifetime. And thank everyone, but especially again, the guests we had tonight. They certainly added to our meeting. And definitely we look forward to seeing everyone next week. Thank y'all and have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Recording, 3, 2, 1.